be the tipping scale to really create a domino effect that no one ever seen coming. I would like to remind people there's going to be a lot of people that's going to judge you and tell you you're too naive.
Christine Ntim.
Christine Ntim.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Now, in order to be able to know how to craft your personal brand, you need to know your level. Where are you today to even know how to get to building a personal brand? So if I were to ask any one of you today, how many of you believe you already have a personal brand? Usually, on average, when I ask this question, I get divided responses, where some of you say, yes, I do have a personal brand, and some of you say, no, I actually don't have one. Well, I'm here to give you the actual answer. The answer is, all of you have a personal brand, whether you think you do or not.
First thing you need to think about is being an expert. And what do I mean by being an expert? We already see what's happening where today, if you're not informed as to what is going on, the person next to you could have less experience, but if they're more informed, they will get ahead. And that is the knowledge truths. Keep in mind, there's now a digital economy. And so when you're trying to export your business, you're also exporting your story and you're exporting your expertise. Some people forget that sometimes you could teach your knowledge, your background, your story, and monetize that.
So as an expert, the ones who are able to teach that information to their audiences, they get more partnerships, they get more marketing, they get more customers actually. And so I host like a lot of webinars online for free. I do a lot of videos, I do how-to tips. And so that expertise also builds my brand, which indirectly builds my business.
All right. Hi. Welcome to the Get Big to Speak Bootcamp 2025. This is the last time I'm doing the training for the year. So you know I'm pumped and I'm so excited to be with all of you today. We got 3 fire days of conversation, and the whole point of this bootcamp is for me to not only engage with all of you and answer so many of your questions around public speaking, entrepreneurship, and personal branding, all wrapped into one, but more importantly, to be able to help positioning you and your expertise for your career next step. Many of you are trying to transition and trying to really put your expertise out there. You don't really know how to articulate it, how to, really find opportunities to engage with really great partnerships around the world. So these next 3 days are going to be a very powerful lineup of content, information, insights, and strategies that's going to help you really spearhead and really accelerate your activities going forward. Now, as always, I always want to make sure that I'm here with a good varied network of people, so please feel free to introduce yourself in the comments. I know many of you know, like, once in a while I do live audits just to give you some feedback on your profile on social media as we have these conversations. So feel free to introduce yourself in the comments, share why you decided to join this boot camp, because we are all coming here to improve ourselves, accelerate our careers, and really end the year on a high, right? And so this is a great opportunity for you to make those declarations publicly, and let me support you along that journey. So without further ado, let's dive into the Get Booked to Speak Bootcamp, because I love doing this. This is now my second year in a row hosting this workshop, and I have done it about 3 times last year, once earlier this year, and this is the last time. So I'm really moving towards doing it twice a year at this point. And every time I have this conversation, I repeatedly come to the market with not only updated information on the speaker landscape, but more importantly, for those of you who are entrepreneurs, we talk a lot about how to build a business and a brand that really creates credibility and authority, especially in a marketplace where trust is broken, people are fatigued, overstimulated. Like, we're dealing with a lot of competing realities right now as a collective, as a society, right? And this conversation goes beyond public speaking just to get paid bookings. I know that's really a direct motive of all of you joining this program, but I want to dig a little bit deeper and get you to understand that positioning yourself in today's market is do or die at this point, right? And what we're seeing is the ones who are really not here to really add value in people's lives are slowly fading to the sidelines. But those of you who are consistent, who care, who are really showing up with passion, integrity, and purpose, you're winning right now. Maybe slow and steady, but you're winning right now. So I want to kick that off with, really inspiring you to do the work that really compounds in ways that you never saw coming. But more importantly, understand that you are here for a reason, that you made a phenomenal choice to be with me, not only live today, but for the next couple of days, to have your questions answered, have the conversations that are not happening online, and really take your career to the next level. Okay, so over the next 3 days, there are 3 things that we're going to cover for the Get Booked to Speak Bootcamp: new and improved, updated conversations, timeless strategies, but really time conscious information that you need to know right now to implement and go to work at the end of this bootcamp. First and foremost, for today, we're going to talk about how to position your personal brand to attract speaking engagement opportunities. We all know more visibility with your brand helps you create more momentum and more global impact with the work that you do. So we're going to talk about positioning today and how to attract speaking engagement opportunities. Tomorrow for day 2, we're going to talk about the proven system to pitch and sell your keynote to corporate buyers. And what I mean by this is really how to position yourself for institutional clients. Is one thing to speak at, major tech conferences and business conferences and industry-led conference programs. Those are really great. These are the ones that people get a lot of visibility around. But if you think about, the real acceleration of your impact in terms of institutional networks, I speak for global governments and institutional corporate clients, universities, and different nonprofits all the time. And I will tell you, you really feel the impact of your work, because a lot of times those are private-led events that don't know who you are if you don't know how to position yourself and talk to them and communicate to them in a way that really highlights your credibility and why you're the right person for them to work with. So day 2 is all about that. And day 3 is really about how to find 5 hidden places to land paid speaking engagements, because I truly believe, as an entrepreneur who have built multiple companies over the past decade, that I think you could do great work and get paid to do it too. Right. And so really compensating your time, your expertise in a way that not only makes it fruitful and beneficial to you and your own endeavors, but help you to be able to reinvest back in certain communities that you probably couldn't reach because you couldn't afford to. Right. So day 3 is all about finding those right places to position yourself, because you'll be very surprised at the great areas or databases or online places that you could find really timeless opportunities to really build your brand and get out there for paid engagement. So that's the lineup for the next 3 days. Some housekeeping. I see people are coming on online now, which is great, right? If you are here because you simply just want to get booked on global stages and get paid, yes, I will cover all that. But if you are here to take, again, your career to the next level and have real tangible conversations about where are you in your career? What have you learned? What have you done to make an impact? And how can you share that thought leadership with others? You're in the right place, because this is something that's going to be so fruitful for not only you, but also the audiences that you serve. Okay. So with that said, over the next 3 days, the things that I want you to do is show up live, because I have live only information and bonuses and opportunities for you to engage with me on a deeper level that only happens live. Second, there is a workbook. If you did not get a workbook for this program, you should have signed up, and you should be able to get access to that workbook. I'm also going to share it in the link. For those of you who didn't, team, if we could post that as well, so that way you guys have access to the workbook, so you could take notes and customize this experience for you, because we're going to cover a lot over the next 3 days. And the third thing is, I challenge you to not just sit here and listen, but actually take action on what we're going to be discussing, because there's a lot of good, last but not least, because I know we have a lot of skeptics. I know trust is broken in society right now, and people are like, what's the catch? I have no catch. Like, literally, like, I love having these live calls. If any of you know me for the past decade, I'm a global speaker who loves to share thought leadership and share insights to the public, to my community. So there's really no catch. One thing I will do at the end of each session is definitely invite you to work with me in a greater capacity, which will require an investment, because I'm not cheap. I'm a really influential speaker who's speaking on a lot of global stages. So if you want to work with me on a deeper capacity, I will invite you to do so at the end of the program. But up until that point, each day I go live, I'm giving you my goods. I'm giving you my excitement, my energy, my fire. Because like I said, I do love doing this, right? I've done so much over the past decade. I'll get to know many of you over the next couple of days that I have nothing to hold back. This is where I show up as my best self. This is something that I'm good at. Public speaking, sharing thought leadership, sharing insights, answering questions. I'm operating in my light right now. So I'm really happy to be here. Thank you so much for the amazing comments. I saw Natalie just said that she was referred over to this. So thank you so much. Really excited to welcome you and everyone else to this session. So without further ado, let's get started. Now, as stated before, I talk on public speaking, entrepreneurship, and personal branding a lot. So I've done boot camps, webinars, and talks around. I really want to inspire people to be able to really put their voices out there, because a lot of the people who are trying to get on stages are the stories that we don't hear about. It's usually the same type of profiles on global conference stages all the time that you see. And I'm sure many of you are frustrated of seeing the same type of profiles get promoted and published and featured in the media, on event stages, on global opportunities. I mean, for women specifically, the majority of global stages are usually done. And where I come in is not only sharing my experiences getting on these global stages, speaking at the UN, speaking, for corporate institutions like MasterCard and, Google and Facebook and LinkedIn and speaking at government global stages around the world, but also sharing with you how to do it strategically so you don't have to make the same mistakes I have. So I am constantly having these conversations. Obviously, over the years, I've gotten more and more focused and chiseled down as to when I have these conversations. This is the reason why many of you signed up for this workshop, because, again, I now only do this twice a year because, again, my thought leadership goes without saying that I go deep and strong into these conversations. So hopefully you find it very useful. But me and why I'm the best person to advise you on this conversation about how to get booked on global stages is, one, I've spoken at over 300 different conferences and events and programs to date. And that sounds crazy, but I really was, oh my God, in my 20s, I did so much. Like, I was speaking at close to 2 or 3 events a day on certain months of the year, like traveling. I've traveled to over 60 plus countries. And I will tell you, if there's a stage out there, I've spoken on it. I've spoken at the United Nations. I've done a TED Talk. I've spoken at major institutional clients like Facebook, LinkedIn, MasterCard, AT&T, so on and so forth. I've spoken at major institutions like my alma mater, college, Harvard, Columbia, right? I've spoken for governments, where governments hire me to come in to inspire their thought leadership for entrepreneurs, the next generation of entrepreneurs within their communities. So I've had a varied experience of speaking in front of groups as small as 10 for a roundtable to as big as 15,000 at a major event in Malaysia. So I've done a lot of different speaking engagements to tell you how I've been booked for free, how I've been paid, how I've been contracted, and all of of different variations of speaking engagements. I've also been featured in a lot of different media outlets, whether it be Forbes, Entrepreneur Magazine, Inc. Magazine, where my story and my thought leadership has spread to thousands around the world because of the work that I've done, right? And with that said, obviously I've generated capital in business and been able to, host myself even hundreds of events around the world. Many of you probably know me as the founder of Haiti Tech Summit, as the producer behind Caribbean Future Summit, Her Future Summit, Afro Future Summit. We have about 60 plus different global event brands that we have hosted over the years through the global startup ecosystem. And so when it comes to tech ecosystem leadership, global domination, when it comes to inspiring the next generation of entrepreneurs, we have supported over 8,000 entrepreneurs in the past 7 years through our accelerator program, but we have supported close to 100,000 people through our newsletter and our community network, hosting these event programs around the world. So we have touched a lot of lives over the past decade. And one thing that I have seen that has been my biggest acceleration power is my voice, my ability to speak on global stages, to not only share what I've done, why I've done it, but also the impact that we're making to accelerate the growth of my business, to accelerate the growth of my impact, but also really feed into and open doors for both myself and the people that matter in my communities, right? So this has been a phenomenal journey from a career perspective, but I also like to share the freedom and flexibility that even being able to engage with you virtually from this online session, that I'm able to really make decisions as to where I want to go, where I want to be. I still am able to book virtual engagements and not have to fly out as much, right? I've spoken and traveled to over 60 different countries, but I'm also a mother, I'm a wife, I've been able to build a family, I've been able to start a farm, I've been able to go on sabbaticals for multiple weeks at a time in a year, right? All of that is to say that public speaking has given me a freedom and a flexibility and a growth mechanism that I never knew was possible. And so I'm really, really grateful for the journey that I've been able to experience through that work. And I'm so excited to share how you could do the same as well. All right. So with that said, allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Christine Ntim. I'm the founder and CEO of the Global Startup Ecosystem. I am a serial entrepreneur, personal brand advisor, and tech leader who's also a dominant force at home, who is a proud mother and a wife to 4 beautiful kids. And I am so proud of the thought leadership I've done, launching and scaling 5 revenue generating companies within my portfolio, being featured around the world for the work that I do, to come here to give this thought leadership to you about how to do the same, especially getting booked for global engagements. So with that said, let's kick off the Get Booked to Speak Bootcamp series. Over the next 3 days, the 3 things that you're going to have a clear path to do is 1, how to increase your visibility in the industry to get seen by event organizers, 2, to attract career boosting speaking engagement opportunities, and 3, position yourself for paid speaking engagement opportunities that opens new career doors in the form of brand deals, corporate contracts, and more to accelerate your career, but also accelerate your impact. So that's what you're in store for. And I'll preface this to say that the timing of this conversation, I've been saying this now, like a broken record for the past 2 years now. They might not want to say it on mainstream, but I'm going to be direct and say we are living in economic uncertainty right now, right? The economy is through the shitter. Things have shifted. Things are harder right now, both for entrepreneurs and for people who are in the workforce. And I tend to tell people public speaking gives you insurance of really investing in your thought leadership in a way that is timeless, no matter what the economic conditions are out there. Second, public speaking also opens doors where it helps you tap into your voice and your calling to really make an impact, not because you're a celebrity, not because you're an influencer, but because you have a talent and an expertise for something that could truly benefit someone who's trying to tap into that expertise, because you're a couple steps ahead of somebody in this world. I always tell people, don't, acquire imposter syndrome because you think you're not meant for this. You are always a couple steps ahead of somebody on this planet. And that's the people you want to serve, because that person needs a blueprint. And who's to say that that blueprint can't be you, your voice, your story, and your journey? So I'm calling on all of you to step up and step into that calling. And so for today's session, as shared before, we're going to cover and go over exactly how to position your personal brand to attract speaking engagement opportunities. I already shared the workshop with you. The screenshot is on the screen, so that way you can follow along, take notes, and really really customize today's conversation for those of you who know that your personal brand needs a little bit of work. You need to really, create an ROI with how you're posting on LinkedIn, how you're engaging with people at networking events, how you're, closing deals. This conversation is really going to help you today. Now, with that said, some of the trends that are happening right now in the speaker landscape, because many of you are not in the speaker circuits, you can't understand, but there's a lot happening behind the scenes. And I know this because I've been in the industry for over a decade. And I could tell you, one, there's a lot more players entering the speaker market. I feel like almost everyone on LinkedIn calls themselves a speaker. But just because there's a lot more people coming into the market calling themselves speakers doesn't mean that they know how to close gigs, right? I've seen a lot of mistakes, and I'll go over that in the next couple of minutes of that, what novice speakers do that doesn't get them positioned for opportunities. But one of the biggest things I would say, more competition means more chaos, means that you need to be more clear and have more clarity on what makes you stand out as a great speaker for people to work with. That's one. The second thing is people's budgets have shifted. Back in the day, dropping 10, 20 grand on a speaker to come to an event was nothing. Budgets were different. The economy was different. People just wanted exposure to new thought leadership at any point, right? Now, people are really scrutinizing the speakers that are coming in. They're really looking at budgets, really reviewing the type of caliber coming in. So you have to be very conscious, not only about the quality of your content, but also how you actually position your thought leadership to make sure that you are charging enough to be relevant, because sometimes charging the wrong amount might actually get you priced out of the market as well. So new budgets is changing the landscape of who's the entrance that's getting the top gigs at the top. And last but not least, it's more about positioning now as opposed to participation. Back when I first started in the speaker industry, almost everyone could come into the market and participate as speakers. But what we're seeing now is like even speaking for free is not as easy anymore, right? So positioning is really important to get you to open doors into an industry that is very, very competitive and is moving at an accelerated rate. Okay, so with today, what we're going to talk about is how to craft your value positioning statement. This is something I talk about on record all the time, but how to bring clarity pretty much on how do you introduce yourself, both virtually online, but also in person at networking events, at functions, so that way people can introduce yourself and vouch for you behind closed doors, right? And of course, how to optimize your profile for visibility and how to really understand the landscape and take advantage and leverage the trends that are happening right now. Okay. Now, I'll always begin this conversation by asking candidly, okay, what is your biggest challenge right now? Because a lot of people say, like, I just want to get booked, but you're coming at it from a perspective where you probably don't know what challenge is holding back from not getting booked engagements, right? Because the thing about thought leadership is that, people want to book people who actually know what they're talking about, one. And second, people who are positioned to extract that knowledge in a way that's dissecting, that can help other individuals. Some of you are not even prepared to even do that, right? And so with that said, to position yourself for engagements, some of the challenges that I've seen a lot of people experience to get on the speaker circuit is one, comment one if this is you. Some of you don't know how to find engagement, so you're just out there just like pitching yourself, emailing, maybe trying to speak at multiple events for free. Like you're doing all the things, but it's just not really working for you, right? So I've seen a lot of people struggle with just making themselves relevant and getting on the right speaker circuit. That's one. Then you have those who, okay, maybe people know you in your community, people have engaged with you, people know who you are. But for some reason, like you're not able to get paid engagement. So you're able to get the free engagements where people know who you are, know your brand. But for some reason, getting access to and from paid opportunities is very difficult because you haven't really positioned yourself. Some of you are okay. You're getting the paid gigs, but you're stuck in a certain fee bracket. You don't know how to break out of it because people kind of position you into a certain thing, because once people know what your price point are, people tend to circulate that information as well. And so there's all types of challenges that some of you might have in terms of really creating a speaker brand that brings value, integrity, and opportunity. And I always tell people, as an entrepreneur, I never see a challenge as an actual challenge. I always see challenges as opportunities. And this is where I want to transition many of you and really flip your mindset about how to see some of these challenges. So for those of you who feel like, okay, you don't know where to start, you don't know how to get yourself out there, you can't find any speaking engagements, period, you have a visibility issue. And the best solution to that is really learning how to create a public speaker profile that really reinforces your brand as a speaker and gets people thinking and considering of you, making you top of mind when it comes to getting events and getting speakers like yourself. For those of you, you're finding all the free gigs, but you're not getting booked for paid gigs, this is probably the biggest one I get a lot of people coming in for, and you're frustrated. You have a positioning issue, right? You need to stop with different topics. Some of you are speaking about whales and animals and tech and then AI. Like, you're speaking on too many different subjects, which means you're just contributing to our conversation. You're not leading the conversation. So you have a positioning issue because you need to stop speaking on everything and focus on creating a signature talk where you are known for something and people go to you for that because you're the, if you notice, a lot of people who get booked on multiple events, they usually speak on one subject matter, like a broken record. That's what you want. You want to be a broken record. Okay. So that's a positioning issue problem. For those of you like, look, I'm getting consistent gigs, but I'm stuck in the same fee bracket. You have a target market issue. You don't know how to speak to the elevated avatar, i.e. you don't know how to, speak in the language of corporate buyers. We can help you with that. And this is something that we teach in the Paid Speaker Career Accelerator program, how to communicate effectively to your target client and how to position yourself, what words you should be using to really elevate your brand in the market. Because some of you are using words that's actually hurting you, which is why you're not getting these engagements. So these are all the challenges, but these are all the opportunities that's available to you that are quick. It's like a 1% tipping point that could change the trajectory of your career. And so my journey into public speaking started where a lot of people do, where I just volunteered and spoke at dozens of events. So I remember, early in the 2010s, where I was speaking at multiple events for free. I was speaking at this university, this conference, this program. There was a point where I was speaking at close to 30, 40, 50 plus events across several weeks. I mean, it was a lot of different events. Got a lot of exposure. Had standing ovations across the board. I definitely was probably the top speaker at almost every single event. I'm not saying that to show off. If any of you have been to any event where I've spoken at, you've seen me on stage. Like I give the fire, right? But it wasn't converting into paid engagements. And I thought to myself, well, at least I'm able to spread the message, spread the word. But after some time, where you get to a point where you're speaking at so many different free events where now start to cost you money to get out there and be of help to others in terms of your thought leadership. That's what was happening, right? And then you start to get embittered with the ecosystem because you're better than the rest. People are being paid. This is happening. And this is where I want to stop many of you from like turning sour with your ecosystem, because you can't blame the world for your lack of wisdom, right? The world is not to blame for you not knowing what to do. You got to really find the thought leadership and the knowledge to know what to do different, and then not doing the same thing, expecting different results. Because sometimes you know what you need to do, right? But some of you are literally the pure definition of insanity. Let's say I'm telling you the strategy right now today, but the comfort and the default, because it's comfortable, right? The default is like, oh, let me still go volunteer at this event for free, speak on a random subject, and then come back home and complain where I'm still not getting booked for engagements. And that cycle, until the pain of being on that cycle pisses you off to the point where you want to get out of the rut, you guys are going to still keep doing this over and over and over. Because I've seen this before where people have engaged with me on this Get Booked to Speak Bootcamp last year, still do the same thing and come right back to square one and say, Christine, I need to get out of this rut. Help me, right? So I've been there. So I can relate and I understand the frustration of having such visibility speaking on global stages around the world, but it costing you time, money, and energy, especially for entrepreneurs where you should be focusing on your business. I do less talks now, so I can focus more on my business, my revenue, share, like literally growing my wealth and my business and my brand cumulatively, so that it affects my family in the long run, as opposed to just chasing opportunities to speak everywhere for visibility. That's one. Now, how I got to the point where I became very strategic, where you see this image here where I'm speaking in front of thousands. This is actually in London, right? Where I'm able to select the top events I want to speak at. I'm able to dictate the price and negotiate with power, right? But also I'm able to do less with more, right? And so all of that feeds into having a structured approach to how I position myself. And that's the strategy I want to share with you all, to the point that now I'm not just speaking at events, which is what a lot of you do, just speak at random events. I have clients. I can say, like today, I spoke to I actually, just before this call, was on a pre-call for a virtual event that I'm speaking on, and I'm being paid thousands for that. Okay. This is where I'm coming from, where I have so many clients now where I'm bringing an impact to these clients. I'm not just there speaking on a topic. I'm there giving thought leadership that will impact their bottom line. And that's the mindset that you need to have when it comes to getting paid to speak, is that if you are here trying to be a thought leader to get paid to speak at different events, you are making a business decision. Okay, that's one. And if you're making that business decision, you need to think about who is the target market that you want to attract, and i.e. clients, institutional clients, where you can have a roster like mine, where these are the clients I've worked with, whether it be government clients like the U.S. State Department, whether it be corporate clients like LinkedIn or SAP or MasterCard, which is not on this, but they're a client, right? Or academic clients like my alma mater, like Dartmouth, Columbia, and Holt, and so on and so forth, where you can have a varied portfolio of clients that you have served to keep creating that book of business, all based on your thought leadership and your experiences. That's the power of this. So where I want to narrow this focus for today and how you could position your personal brand for these you get on stages like this one that you see here and really make an impact is, one, understand the trends that I share with you, that demands are changing. Competition is more intense. You need to stop reaching out to multiple event organizers and have a better target approach, which I'm going to share with you later. You need to stop just posting on social media just for the sake of posting and just being active, but actually really leverage your social media to build a narrative around your thought leadership and really focus on simplicity, not speaking on multiple topics, but really having one signature talk. And what that looks like, for those of you who don't know, I've already learned the hard lesson of losing millions on the table from waiting too long to build my speaker career strategy properly. And I want you guys not to, go through the same path of losing millions as well, and really know this strategy strategically. And so with that said, this is the current roadmap that a lot of you are doing, which is completely wrong. A lot of you try to break into public speaking by just accidentally maybe getting an invite or speaking for free at multiple different events. You're doing. And maybe you get happy where randomly you get one paid engagement. Now you're excited. Now you're like, yo, I'm on to the races. I'm a paid speaker. You start promoting your profile. Maybe you create a speaker reel. You create your website. You get out there. But you get a frustration because you brand yourself as a speaker, but you're not getting booked. And so what happens, you go right back to the hamster wheel of speaking at multiple different free engagements, trying to, blow the mind of a crowd and do really well. But this entire approach, first off, is insane. It doesn't work anymore. That's one. Second, there's no planning, there's no positioning, there's no purpose, there's no clear directive. And for many of you, remember I said that this is a business decision to break into public speaking to get paid to do so. No one would start a business just putting themselves out there and giving free content work forever, right? With no strategy, right? There's one to do promo wise, right? But at a certain point, you have to put a package, put a product, put yourself out there and really build a business. Same thing with public speaking. You have to really position yourself, have a package, i.e. your signature talk, have a structure, have a strategy, and put yourself out there properly. I learned this the hard way, okay? I'm sharing this from a point of guilt and sadness at the years I wasted not knowing this. So you'll see a lot of energy and passion and how I'm expressing this to you so that way you don't make the same mistakes, right? So this is my signature method, my secret weapon, how I was able to shift my entire speaker career and go from speaking at a bunch of events for free to now being able to have Fortune 500 clients that book me 5 figures and up just to speak at their event. I'm talking about 10K and above. The smallest ones being like 2,005, 3,000 I could do virtually online, right? But just sharing with you that I'm able to get booked in the thousands now just for 15 minutes of my time, 20 minutes of my time, at most 60 minutes of my time. And I love that I'm able to make such a crazy impact without doing as much as I was doing before earlier in my career. So this is called the public speaker booking sprint method, where it's my 5-step plan for you to be able to get fast, exclusive public speaker bookings as quickly as possible. And it starts with the foundational thing. You cannot start the path of becoming a paid speaker without having a signature talk. That's what we call your product in the market. Again, some of you are speaking on 20 different topics, multiple different conversations. No one knows what you're known for. You are confused in the market. Stop it. Okay. One signature talk is your product. And we'll share with you an example of that, right? But positioning starts with you having a signature talk, a product in the market, you know you for, and if they don't know you for, you put it out there, and people will say, okay, Christine is known for entrepreneurship. Boom. This is her signature talk. Christine is known for personal branding. Boom. This is her signature talk. You have to have a product out there. That's the first step. So for those of you who's like, oh, I speak on branding, I speak on marketing, and you have a list of 20 different bullet points, I challenge you to take the first step of having one signature talk for the next 90 days. And you're going to see the difference and how people respect you, engage with you, respond to you, and engage with you for an engagement. It changes everything. So the first step for the path to getting paid engagements, to get booked, is having that foundational product, which is one signature talk. Step 2, publish. People have to know that you're known for that signature talk. So publishing that thought leadership, not in the way that you might think, where you're publishing an article every single day and getting burned out on social media. No. Do you have your signature talk published anywhere, right? So if you Google my signature talk, you'll find that the PDF is out there. You'll find that the topic is talked about somewhere on an article. Maybe it's featured on a media at Forbes, right? I have published my thought leadership on my signature talk. Some of you try to hoard it, hide it. You don't want someone to steal your thought leadership. Listen, with 8 billion people on the planet, nothing is new. Please stop that. The IP is not really you putting it out there. The IP is how you deliver it, how you showcase it, how you extract value into it, and impart that wisdom into your audience. That's really the IP. Okay. So publish your thought leadership, publish the topic, publish the takeaways, publish what it's about. So that way, when people are Googling you, if someone Googles your name, your thought leadership, your signature talk should come right up to it. Right? So if people Google Christine Ntim, they just see some of the topic that I speak on immediately. So it's easy to find. So that's step number 2. Step number 3 is what we call positioning. And this is brand visibility. That's really across the board. How do you show up virtually online, LinkedIn, social media, your website? And how do you communicate when you're at in-person functions? And are you reiterating the same brand message every single time? Is there consistency across your brand visibility online and in person? Some of you are very confusing. On one hand, you are speaking from this position. On the other hand, you're speaking from another position, and you're creating confusion, right? You have to have consistency with your positioning, okay? So that's what it means by that, okay? So with that said, this is how you do that, okay? So that is step number 3. Now, here's where the tipping point happens, where you see a lot of people start to get paid to speak, okay? Because now you went from creating that foundational layer where you have a signature talk, you've published it, people know you for it, it's your brand visibility. Some people could, if they know what to do, maybe they get to this point. The tipping point is where I call the proposal. Common proposal, if you know how to write a proposal, where it's kind of like an executive summary of why your signature talk is relevant for the corporate or institutional body who wants to book you to speak. So there's a 1-pager that talks about what the talk is about, why you're a thought leader on this subject matter, what are the benefits and takeaways for any audience listen to it, how long is it, what's the benefit, and that's it, right? And I always tell people the proposal leads to contracts. This is where the money comes in, where you are able to articulate the value of your message and the ROI of your message to be able to book an institutional corporate client. This is where the tipping point happens. And in our Paid Speaker Career Accelerator program, we are constantly sharing with people. In the program, we actually help people craft their proposal from scratch, so that when they go to market, they have a proposal ready to go. When they, let's say they get on a conversation call with MasterCard, and MasterCard will send me your proposal, send me some information about your, your signature talk. You have it ready to go to book, and that leads to an invoice, and that leads to a paid contract with money in the bank. That's how it flows, right? Because that proposal is the ROI that gets circulated amongst the company for them to make the decision as to whether you're the right speaker to bring in. That is where the secret happens. And beyond that, how to scale your revenue as a speaker, it's creating a pipeline, and that's a database. And this is what we talk about in the Paid Speaker Career Accelerator program, where we share with clients on live sessions how to create customized databases based on their expertise. So if you're coming in, you're a thought leader, and you want to create a database of clients who want to buy thought leadership on wellness, we're able to show you how to do that. If you're coming in with thought leadership on food nutrition, we're able to show you that. If you're an entrepreneur, maybe you have an inspirational story, you want to show thought leadership on how to build and scale a startup company, we're able to help you build a pipeline. So that way you're constantly, speaking and closing deals on a daily, weekly basis. So you're getting paid on a consistent basis as well, right? And that's where we scale. So proposal will get to you clients one by one. Pipeline will help you to scale and really create a speaker business where you're getting paid on a consistent basis. This 5-step strategy is my secret sauce. I don't shy away from it. Even to this day, this is the exact procedure that my team follows. Obviously, step 1, 2, and 3. Every once in a while, every 2 or 3 years, my thought leadership expands and grows because my career expands and grows. But that tipping point of always having a proposal ready for my thought leadership and really creating a pipeline that scales my brand, that secret sauce is always there. And what we always tell people, I'll share with you about the public speaker booking bootcamp, where we help people get on that ladder with that tipping point step on how to create that proposal. Okay. How to take it from positioning to proposal. We share with people how to get past that tipping point, because that's usually the hard part for people to do on their own, because some people don't know how to articulate their message properly for institutional clients. We help you get there. Okay. This is the secret. This is where you take yourself from being a novice who's speaking on multiple events for free, speaking on multiple subjects, tiring yourself out, burning yourself out, spending money, spending resources to get to multiple different venues just for visibility, to now being very strategic, very time sensitive, very targeted with what you want to get booked for and get paid to do so. That is the difference with this strategy. This sprint method is literally the industry standard to be able to take you from a novice speaker who doesn't know how to get paid to speak to an expert speaker who's well known in the market, who gets booked on a consistent basis with integrity and authority with the right institutional buyers. By the way, a lot of these institutional clients that I book for my speaking engagements usually end up becoming business clients with 6-figure contracts. I've had speaking engagements that was a 5-figure booking, 10K and above, from you speak at their event, and it turns into a 6-figure contract. That was, by the way, a multi-year 6-figure contract where I'm doing 3 years, 2 years in the past with that client. That is the scale of reach that you're going to have with institutional clients with this type of framework that really helps you get on the ladder properly. Okay. So with that said, I told you that the first step is having that signature talk. If you Google my name, Christine Ntim, and Google my thought leadership, Entrepreneurship Without Borders is my signature talk. And you'll see all the types of clients I've worked with in the past, and also the thought leadership around this subject. Before 10 years ago, you didn't see people talking about entrepreneurship without borders. Now there's a lot of thought leadership on this at Stanford, universities, at government institutions. And usually they always reach out to me because this is my signature talk. So when you Google it, and we call it the Google test, and that's what we do to many of you. We help you in the program go from being unknown to being searchable with your thought leadership. We share with you where to publish your signature talk, so that way you are visible online and really increase your speaker fee, just because now this thought leadership association with you and your signature talk. Okay, that's really what this is. So if you Google my name, this thought leadership association with my name and entrepreneurship right now, especially global entrepreneurship without borders. So every single year, I'm constantly traveling around the world because my leadership on entrepreneurship is very global, it's very diverse, it's very international. Okay, now the second thing is, once you have that signature talk, we talked about publishing online. The takeaway from today's session that I want to conclude with is really positioning yourself for the market and being very clear as to how you introduce yourself online and how you introduce yourself in person at in-person functions, so on and so forth. Okay. And so the best way to think of this is that really you need to have a 1-sentence liner which is called the value positioning statement. And I talk about this at length all the time, but I'm going to repeat it like a broken record because some people just find it very difficult to do this. And this is how the market is being led. If you go on my LinkedIn profile right now, you'll see before I put my title as the CEO of the global startup ecosystem, as a global entrepreneur, global speaker, this and third, I led with my positioning statement, right? I help entrepreneurs, that's my who, to monetize their personal brand, that's my what, so that way they can live fulfilled lifestyle, that's my why, right? Very clear, simple value position statement. It's not a paragraph, it's not an essay. Some of you ramble too much, which is why you're not able to clearly pitch yourself and position yourself with clarity and purpose to an institutional buyer, to a government buyer, to a decision maker, because you don't even know yourself who you are and what you're doing and why you're doing. You're confused yourself, right? So I'm helping you to understand that you need to stop being confused and take a step back and find clarity. And this is what we do actually in the public speaking booking workshop, where we help you kind of rein it in a little bit and bring clarity to your brand and say, okay, no more fluff. What is your value? Let's put it into a sentence. Let's get to the point. What is your value? And we go through this exercise and people walk away just like so proud to just want to meet and engage with people now, because it's like, wow, like I can't believe all this time I was just rambling. Now I have clarity of purpose. I have clarity of conversation to really dictate to people that I meet, both online and offline, about what I do, why I do it, and like why it's relevant, right? So getting straight to that point. So for many of you guys could share your brand value position and statement on the chat feed. Like similar to mine, like I said, I help entrepreneurs, that's my who, to do what? Monetize their brands. Why? To create a flexible, fulfilled lifestyle, right? That's my value statement as an example. But if you notice through that, when I'm creating content or having conversations, anyone who fits entrepreneurship or someone who's trying to break into entrepreneurship, they know I'm the person to work with. If there's an institution that works for entrepreneurs, like a university who has an alumni entrepreneurship incubator program, they want to work with me, right? It's now very clear the institutional clients I can bring in, but also mass market. For those of you who are on the call, many of you, if you identify an entrepreneur, you're in the right place, you're talking to the right person. So I bring clarity across the board for myself, so that way I'm not chasing everybody with two legs and two eyeballs, right? Because some of you are chasing everybody under the sun, and that's why you look crazy. But also for me to attract the right people, because now I've already made a declaration to the public that this is who I'm targeting, who I'm supporting. So now if you fit that category, you could reach out to me. This is why we talk about attracting opportunities, because you made a declaration to the public who you want to support, who you want to work with. Some of you don't want to make that declaration because you want to catch everybody, but you don't realize by not making that declaration, you're catching nobody, right? Because no one knows if they fit the right people, and people don't want to waste their time and have a conversation with you to figure it out. We are all depleted right now. It's just socially. Everyone is really overwhelmed, overstimulated, overbooked in some type of capacity. So what you're finding is people who are more clear and distinct about what they serve and who they want to work with, they're getting rapid bookings because people don't have to think too much with you, right? They know what they're getting, they know what they're seeing, and they know if it's worth it. You want to be one of those people to fit that, check that box off, to bring clarity. Declare it, declare it, declare it. Because when you declare it, you can attract it, okay? So declare it. This is who you are. Stand firm on it. This is what you do. This is why you do it. Put your chest out, okay? And make that declaration that this is who you want to serve. And I promise you, it will help you attract the clients and the community and the audience that you want to serve. It will make life so much easier for you, but also make it so much easier on your audience to want to work with you a lot faster. Okay, that's the main thing. So with that said, we covered a lot today, but tomorrow we're going to transition from this conversation of brand positioning. And if you guys have questions, now's the time to share them on the thread. But tomorrow, where we're going to get into is we're going to talk about how to position go from how to position your personal brand to now talk about the next step in the ladder. Let me go back to that slide actually, so you can understand what we're going to talk about tomorrow. So today we've pretty much covered, okay, this conversation about the foundational parts of 1, 2, or 3. Remember, this is an accelerated 3-day workshop where I'm trying to pack as much as possible in 3 days. Tomorrow, we're going to have a whole session on pretty much the proposal part, which is a conversation about how to pitch yourself to corporate buyers. And on day 3, the 5 places to find opportunities, so that way you could create a database and a pipeline for speaking engagement. So that's what we're covering. So we're covering this entire method so that way you are able to understand and have a foundational knowledge of how to really build your speaker brand for the public in a way that position yourselves for success. Now, I want to also invite you guys, if you felt like this is going to be a truly inspiring and practical session for you over the next 3 days, if you need help, right, where obviously I'm giving you everything you need to know the framework during this 3-day bootcamp on how to position yourself, how to brand yourself, and how to find opportunities. If you need that help, remember I told you that tipping point where some people find it very hard to create that proposal. Join me for a live bootcamp workshop, okay, where I'm going to share with you how to not only market your profile to get this opportunity, but create that proposal so you could get out to the market faster. I find that before coming into a multi-week program with me live, where, by the way, we will open the doors for that in the fall, right? People need that first step. Like, how do I actually position myself in the market online and create that first proposal? That's what this public speaker book and workshop is about, because that requires a little bit more customization. Obviously, hundreds of people sign up for this 3-day live, but during that session, I'm able to look at your profile, look at your LinkedIn, and give you some contact pointers. And by the way, we do not, 3 things I will share about my workshop structure style, just for those of you who've never worked with me in that capacity. Is one, we always work on Google Docs. We don't work from PowerPoint slides. So I don't use PowerPoint slides for these workshop sessions because we're typing and we're doing the work live. So it's really an implementation style workshop where we're not just discussing, we're doing it, okay? So you're gonna walk away with the actual blueprint you need to actually create the proposal, and we're actually gonna do the proposal. So that way you walk away with that. So day 1 of the workshop is all about you positioning your brand and how to really articulate that on LinkedIn. Day 2 is actually creating the proposal to go to market. I find that once people have that, if they need more oomph and they want to work with me for a longer period of time, then they join the Paid Speaker Career Accelerator to work with me over 5 weeks to be able to really hone in on their signature talk, get some practice to help, because I help you practice and pitch your signature talk, and then work on creating a pipeline then. But if you feel like, look, I still don't feel confident that I could get into the market and I just need something to break that barrier, this is the first step, because what it does is like it positions you to know how to get your first client, okay? Because some of you still feel skeptical that you will have the capacity to do that. This is usually the step 1 on the journey of success for those of you who need that, you know, and want to get started immediately. And so I'll share the link for how you'll be able to work with me in that capacity to join that workshop. But again, this is a really great opportunity for those of you who want to join and be able to have access to that capacity to get that support tangibly. So I'm sharing that link on the chat so that we have that. So right now I want to answer some questions to see what's come in. Let me see. So someone I think just shared their value statement. Someone just said, I work with entrepreneurs to create a solid foundation, helping them to begin, continue, to become a strong personal brand. Even that's still a little bit too wordy. Just get straight to the point. I help entrepreneurs be able to build a strong personal brand so that way they can attract opportunities, right? So your target market is entrepreneurs. You help us do that to build a strong personal brand. To do, why do you do that? Maybe so they could get global opportunities, right? As succinct as possible. And this is what we coach you through in the programs that I run, is that we're helping you to articulate and bring clarity and simplicity to your messaging, so that way you get straight to the client's mind frame of what they want, right? So really, really important that you guys understand that clarity and simplicity wins at all costs here, okay? So very important that you are able to articulate that really, really well, okay? Let me see the next question I see here. This one is on the Facebook Live group. I can't share it on the live feed. Can I? Can I share it on the live feed? Let me see if I could type this out. No, I can't share on the live feed. Okay, I'll just read that. So this question is regarding how does someone position themselves with a signature talk? How do you create a signature talk? Okay, so let's go over that. Let me go back. remember this framework that I share with you. This framework is really going to change your life. And when it comes to getting booked for speaking engagements, because this conversation around the signature talk is, okay, what do you want to speak about that's going to give real thought leadership and insight that will really change the trajectory of an audience, the mindset of an audience, what the audience could do. So it's really in 20 minutes or less, what's your thought leadership? What message or breakthrough do you want to give the world? That's the signature talk. So for me, my signature talk is Entrepreneurship Without Borders. The breakthrough message in that is that you could build a business from anywhere. You don't need multiple resources to do that. If you have resilience, passion, and integrity, you could literally build something from ideation to the world from nothing. And this is how to go about it. So I share my journey on doing that and share stories about how the practical steps and path to actually do that. That's my signature talk. That's my breakthrough message. So that message is done in 20 minutes or less. And that's my signature talk. So clients who need that message shared and customized for, let's say, an incubator who's trying to inspire their entrepreneurs, or a government who has a huge youth unemployed population and want to inspire that youth population to go into entrepreneurship, they'll book me. Or a corporate client who's now working with startup investments, where they're investing into startup entrepreneurs and want to inspire the employees to see the vision of entrepreneurs who are breaking the mold around the world, they'll book me to come in. Like, you can see my target clients need that thought leadership, not only to inspire, but to actually give practical tools on how to serve that audience. And so that's why I come in. So in the, the Paid Speaker Career Accelerator program, we help you craft that talk. If you don't have a talk right now, you don't know how to craft your message. Maybe you know what your expertise is, but you don't know how to take that expertise and turn it into a signature talk. We help you go through that in the program as well. But for many of you, you might have, a lot of the people that I work with, they have some type of thought leadership already, but they don't know how to position it in the market. That's the reason why this workshop that I'm doing live is more intimate, to help you break that tipping point, to turn and position yourself to be able to get access to that. So that's what that workshop is for, to help you be able to do that. Because I know it's very difficult for a lot of people to really, okay, how do I take this product or this signature talk and go to the market? How do I position it on LinkedIn and turn it into a proposal? We help you to do that. It's the first step that we help people to break the wall and break the barrier on, so that way they can feel ready to go to the market. It's a great question on that. Okay. Any other questions? And like I said, this public speaker booking workshop, another reason why I love doing this workshop on an intimate basis and live, by the way. So, guys know I always like doing things live. I don't like pre-recorded sessions, even though a lot of people book it and watch the on-demand replay. But what I like about going live is that some of you may think that you have a special situation, but I understand you still have specific questions. I'm able to coach you through your thought process with this industry, because this is an industry that's very cutthroat. And if you don't understand how to position and articulate your message, some of you are giving thought leadership in one way, but you don't know how to pitch it to the right buyers. So you might be targeting, let's say, nonprofits, but actually your thought leadership works for education institutions, right? And you don't know how to position it in that way to them, right? So this workshop helps you also narrow down and find the right targets, so that way you could see success and traction a lot faster as well. I see another question on LinkedIn. Do you have a different talk for each industry? Absolutely not. I'm so glad you asked this question, because no, your thought leadership should not need customization for each industry. It just needs customization maybe based on the client, right? So this is something that we talk about in the Paid Speaker Accelerator program, where let's say my thought leadership is Entrepreneurship Without Borders, but I'm working with a government client. The whole framework of the talk is still the same, but probably the case study examples I use, out of the 20 minutes, probably 3 minutes or 5 minutes, the case study examples will be customized to the client, right? So I'm still talking about the same framework of thought leadership, but maybe my case study examples for, let's say, Harvard Business School, if they bring me to speak, is about entrepreneurs who probably graduated school. Versus if I'm speaking at, let's say, MasterCard, it's probably going to be startup ventures that were successful investments by corporate buyers. Do you see? Same thought leadership, but the examples I'm using, case studies, in the talk, which is probably less than 2 or 3 minutes, probably like maybe less than 2 or 3 slides, right? It's customized for the client. But the thought leadership is still the same because, again, thought leadership is still thought leadership. It doesn't change at the whim of the industry, right? It's still very consistent. So hopefully that answered that question. It's not about changing per industry, it's about customization, but still keeping consistency of the brand. Really great questions. Any other questions around that? That was really good. I really like that question. And look, I'm seeing you guys. I'm trying to. I'm working on multiple computers here to see where you guys are coming in from to the questions. I'm seeing them come in because some of them are coming in. Okay. Any other questions regarding today's positioning? Because I know a lot of you guys had a lot of questions around positioning, the value statement. Again, I see a question on what time. It's 11 to. It's about an hour and a half per day for the workshop because again, we're deep diving and we're using Google Docs to work on that positioning. But obviously, you're able to catch up with the replays, come on day 1 or come on day 2, whatever suits your schedule. But you know, you'll have access to the program either way. So feel free to book it. It's a great opportunity for many of you to be able to engage. Okay. It's a great question on that one. Someone was asking about the time for the public speaker book and workshop. Any other questions before I let you guys go? Angela Lewis, strategic accelerator, yes. Tell me a little bit more, Angela Lewis. She says still typing. Okay, we'll wait for you. What other questions do you guys have coming in? There was another question I saw earlier regarding how someone create a proposal that sells. Does certain topics work better? And I always tell people every topic is bookable. It's just how you position the topic. There's something that we also teach in the program is it's not about finding a trending topic. I know a lot of people want to post and talk about being a thought leader in AI. That's the last thing you want to do. You don't want to, just put something because it's a trending topic because then you look insincere and it just doesn't work. You want to be very clear on what you're and put it out there properly, that's the thought leadership that you have, right? So one thing that I'm always very clear with people about is really articulating to them that, look, like, if this is your thought leadership, this is your thought leadership, there's always going to be bias. So the question is not if it's a popular topic, it's do you know the target buyer for that topic? So if you're talking about, maybe you have a niche topic on how to leverage blocks to inspire young children. Okay, what you would do in that scenario is that it's not like, oh, this is not a bookable topic. It's like, okay, what clients will want to talk about child play and education, right? So you'll be probably targeting primary schools. You're probably targeting, education organizers, maybe education conferences. Child development networks. You start to see, I could go on and on about all the target clients you could create just by thinking about your topic, your thought leadership, and then creating a pipeline. And we do this all the time. I love doing this, by the way, because I've been in the circuit for over a decade. I can literally, you could tell me any of your topics and I could give you literally hundreds of clients today. And not just instituted by name, like, oh, MasterCard. No. Specifically, who are the departments? Because we drill down to even the department and the names of people you need to be talking to create that pipeline. That's how powerful the program is in helping you get to that. And that's why I said this workshop is step 1 in helping you try to build that pipeline and know who your target is. Because I know once you figure out what your target clients are, you're off to the races. You're able to get to the market with excitement, enthusiasm, and integrity because now you know it will work. Okay. So with that said, I know we're now out of time on the dot. So here's what I will share with you guys for what's next. Again, tomorrow we're going to be live here for day 2. Okay. So tomorrow we're going to talk about, how to actually pitch corporate clients. This is by far the proposal element that I was telling you about. You don't want to miss this. And I have a live only bonus that I'm sharing on the live tomorrow that you don't want to miss. So make sure you're there on time, ready to go. I also will start doing live LinkedIn profile audits on tomorrow's session. And I will not be live on LinkedIn tomorrow. This time, if you have not signed up for the session, you won't get access to it. It's going to be a private calendar link for you to join. So if you haven't joined live tomorrow and get access to that, register for that. But more importantly, for those of you who found today to be extremely useful and you're ready to just like stop playing on the fence and you just like really want to start getting booked immediately and you want to figure out how to do this and you need help with your proposal writing and positioning, sign up for the workshop. The investment is not reflective of the value. It takes thousands to work with me. And many of you guys know this. The Speaker Accelerator program is $2,500 minimum to work with me. The reason why we priced it at that point is to make it accessible to as many people as possible so you break through your own barriers. But it takes a little bit of customization more than this 3-day live. So we invite you to be a part of that because I know for many of you, it's going to change the paradigm for you. So I'm looking forward to welcome many of you on that live public speaker booking workshop. And more importantly, I look forward to hearing your questions, helping you guys through this process on day 2 live tomorrow. So looking forward to supporting you guys with that. So thank you so much for joining me for day 1 of the Get Booked to Speak Bootcamp. More to come. Again, this is really to inspire you, giving you the right insights and strategy to really position your brand for not only public speaking engagements, but also make sure that you are leveraging your expertise and your thought leadership to bring that voice to others who need that blueprint, need that feedback. You don't know who you can inspire, who you can motivate, who you could really direct to the next stage of their career just by hearing your journey and hearing your strategies. So this is really a calling to many of you to take that first step, to take this very seriously, build and make an impact with your voice and make money doing the same too, as well as an entrepreneur. You can do both, make an impact and get compensated for doing so. So looking forward to seeing all of you for the Get Booked to Speak Bootcamp Part 2 tomorrow. And thank you so much. For those of you who are ready to take action, the link is in the comments for you to join me for that live workshop after this 3-day live so we could get started and get to business. And with that, I'm Christine Ntim. It's an honor and a pleasure to be with all of you. I'm looking forward to see you guys again. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Christine Ntim.
Christine Ntim.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
But this world, as big as it is, one person can be the tipping scale to really create a domino effect that no one ever seen coming. I would like to remind people there's going to be a